change here. This is not Portugal. This is not grow hair and get 1,000 shades of melanin added. But this is still the comment section. I'm still Shirley Angela III, and with me I have Miss Elise A. Wiggins. Elise A. Wiggins, and if you can see in the background, I have a third host this time by the name of Miss Trina Calhoun. Trina, can you hear us all the way from the
Yes.
You can. You can?
I can hear you.
You can hear. Okay. So we're trying something new, you guys. We're trying, first of all, Fox is fine. He is pursuing his career in comedy, acting, and his first love is pageantry. So he's going to be all over. He doesn't have time for us, you guys. But he sends his best wishes, and if I can get him to come in periodically, we're going to do that because we would surely miss his comedy and he's everything. That's what I do. That's my right hand. So it's hard for me, but no worries. We decided that we were going to do the show in a little bit of a different direction. We want to be more spiritually based, and we also want to focus a lot more on women's issues. Not just women's issues, but a lot of women's issues. And what better way to do that of color? You have three. So, I'm still Shirley Ann Phillips III. Nothing has changed. I'm same old, but I want to let these ladies introduce themselves properly and tell you just a little bit.
So I'll start. So first of all, we're wishing Fox well and everything all endeavors, right? I am Elise A. Wiggins, self-published author, coach, and TEDx speaker. As of late, I've been more into philanthropy. I started a non-for-profit, and I wanted to give back to moms who were experiencing burnout like myself. And I think this is something we were talking about before. For 2 years, I have been chasing the bag. But now it's the part of redistributing the bag. You have the money, but what do you do with it? What happens to all those other people? So I'm happy to be at this juncture in my life where I felt like I've been blessed. So now it's time for me to be blessed.
Her soft. Yay! Okay, time to just fall back and help others. Because I know I've received a lot of support from you just in the short time that I have known her. She's done a lot for me, business-wise and socially. I appreciate
each other.
Katrina and I go way back, all the way like 14 years old, way back. Katrina was actually my mom's friend, or she was technically my friend. You want to tell that story?
Oh, goodness. Way back since Castech, Detroit, Shirley migrated, moved to New York. But we still what up, though, here in Detroit. I don't really talk about myself too much, to be honest. I wear a lot of hats. I'm an educator, I'm an administrator at a middle school. I founded Sisters Against Domestic Abuse, which is a nonprofit organization after the untimely demise of my sister, who was murdered by her husband. I'm a published author. I have a publishing company. I don't know. I hate doing this. So, like, I just do a lot. And I'm also a life coach. I'm a grandmama. I'm a mama. I'm black and I'm proud. What you want me to say? I am.
Say it loud. Say it proud.
Yeah. So, that's about it. Shirley and I go way back. Her mom used to come in the bank when I was a banker as a teller, and she used to give me pictures of Shirley. And although Shirley and I lost contact at the high school, her mother was always that one, that glue that kept me informed about Shirley. So that was good. So I always felt like it was my mission and my goal to look after Shirley for her mom after her untimely demise. So that's a little bit of the story. We'll do that. We'll do a whole show about that.
Okay. Well, that's another, like I said, both of y'all have so many stories and so many narratives that must be told. I'm not even going to say need to be told. They must be told, and we will. But today we're actually talking about this idea of, which kind of is a good segue, Trina, rebranding ourselves and restarting after not necessarily tragedy, but just when you're just sick of being sick and tired, as my grandmama and them used to say. You're just tired of the same old, same old. And our guest today is near and dear to my heart because he used to be my student, actually. Quite a live wire he was and still is. But I always saw that light in him. I knew he was going to be someone amazing. He always had that talent for dance and motivating and leading other people. And I just feel like God put certain people, like you guys, young ladies, into our lives for a reason. And we don't always know what that reason is. But sometimes it just takes one push or just one nudge from somebody that believes in you to get you into the path that God has for you. You may not even realize that you're helping the person. And so with our guest, his name is Sire. He has a Sire MF. I see Sire M. I see Sire McClellan. Sir, how do you want us to address you?
As of now, you could just call me Sire. You can just call me Sire.
Sire, the royal name. Okay. So before we bombard you with a bunch of questions, I have several, and I'm sure these young ladies do too. How do you feel right now? Like, what's the difference between this 2024 version of you and when did I have you? 7th grade, 8th grade at that point?
Yeah. Ooh, child, 7th grade. 7th grade.
What's the difference between those two versions of Sire, of yourself?
Oof. Dang. I would say that I'm a lot more mature, obviously, because that comes with age. I'm a lot more patient now. And I actually listen just a tad more. Not as much, but a tad than I was listening in 7th grade. I definitely believe in myself a little bit more. And I don't feel as traumatized.
As traumatized? I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. We actually were talking about this class that I teach. Everybody has trauma to some extent. It's what you do with that trauma. Do you let the trauma control you, or do you take over, and try to build something off of that trauma? But did you guys have any questions?
I'm curious. No, it's not a question, but it's just an observation. You guys are like, what is this place called? Socrates or Aristotle?
Ooh,
The teacher and the
Socrates. I would be Socrates.
Okay.
I would be Socrates. Yeah, okay, Greek mythology. Okay,
it's
I see
coming
you.
back like slowly but surely.
It's coming back. Okay.
Carry on.
Another show.
I got a question. You and I were talking, and I wanted to know what made you move from New York to Hawaii. What caused that transition? And then once you got there, did you have any regrets about moving from New York to Hawaii?
So to answer the first part of the question, what got me from New York to Hawaii was my adopted mom. When I moved, I think I was still in college, and it was when my birth mom just came out of jail. And my adopted mom, she was getting her doctorate in child psychology, and they have to do like this little internship program. At the time, I had my own place in Staten Island. I wasn't doing the greatest. I was still in college, learning how to dance and taking up acting class. But I was a college kid. I was doing a lot of crazy things. And my mom got accepted to this program, and it was in Hawaii. She was like, "You want to move to Hawaii for a year?" And I was like, yeah. Like, I need to get out of New York. This place is crazy. Everybody's crazy. Get me out of here. So it was definitely random, but also very much needed. I did not know that I was going to experience the amount of healing that I experienced in Hawaii when I moved. And then you said, do I have any regrets?
Yes.
I regret not expanding on the talent that I had, because like when I went to Hawaii is when I started my dance business and stuff. But you're in New York, the big apple, there's acting, there's dancing, there's singing, there's all of these great things to do because of how I grew up in the environment that I grew up in. I myself didn't put myself in those situations, and no one around me was like, "Hey, like you should do this, you should do this." Like people will say it, but no one actually like guided me to do it. So when I went to Hawaii, I was like, I can't believe I had all this talent, and I was in New York City, and I didn't use any of it there.
Okay. How long were you in Hawaii?
4 years. I was
4
there
years?
for 4 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even realize it was that long. I did not realize it was that long. I just remember seeing him on Instagram, and I'm like, wait a minute, we need to do like a fundraiser or something while he's here. And we did. We got to dance at Ripley Greer, which is where Beyonce and all the people that somebody there at. And we had an amazing time, excellent,
It's,
patient teacher. And I'm just going to throw you under the bus for a minute. He was not patient, you guys, when he was in the seventh grade. Always give you up, what you want to do. You're afraid of nobody but Jesus, okay? As a matter of fact, I don't even think he was afraid of Jesus at that time. So this is a good segue for you, sir.
it
Because now
really
you're
is.
very much into your own spirituality and your Christianity. What channeled that, or what brought you to this point? Because this is not the Sire that I knew in seventh grade. What happened?
But I'm going to get into that. But before I get into that, I do want to touch base on that fundraiser. You said something earlier within the conversation about like you never know why God puts certain people in your life, and when we did that fundraiser, that was one of the biggest blessings I had as a whole and in my career. I had never taught dance classes in New York, so I had my own little workshop. But that fundraiser within itself, that was the first time that I was able to get my entire family in one location without fighting, and it was also a time where like I was able to bring my career from Hawaii to New York. So that was a blessing within itself. So I just wanted to say thank you again for that, because you have no idea what that fundraiser did. I left that fun. I think I was crying for a good 30 minutes walking downtown with my brother. Just like, thank you, God. Oh my God, this is amazing. So that was that. And then can you repeat the second question again? You still with
I didn't
us?
have one.
It was about Jesus, I think. I don't see her screen no more.
I don't either. And I see that when you speak, it's just a little muffled
It's a
on my
little-
end. I don't know about on their end.
What about now?
That's better.
Okay, so I'll keep
Yeah.
my close to my mouth.
But I did have another question too. What's your favorite genre of dancing? Like you're a dancer. Like what's your favorite genre of dancing?
R&B.
R&B.
I love me some R&B. I love to snap my fingers and do a little two-step.
Yes,
I
me
love
too.
some R&B.
I want to learn African dance. Like I absolutely love it. I know couple of the moves. I'm looking for a dance class now for. Do you do African dance ever?
I do incorporate it into my classes, but I don't just solely do African dancing because I wouldn't say it's a lot, but it's very technical, and I haven't reached that level yet. But I do incorporate into it. I do have a couple of African choreographies that I teach.
Okay. Oh, so you actually have do you have a dance studio, dance classes, and everything?
No, so what I do is I rent out studios, and I use other people's studios to teach my dance classes. I saved up the money to have my own studio. Yeah,
That's all right. In due season. In due season.
and due season.
In due season, you will have your own studio. I can see it now. Sires. What would you name it? Have you came up with a name? What do you see on the bill?
I would name it either SMF Entertainment or
Okay.
SMF Dance Classes.
I like that. Really simple. And what does the MF stands for? What is
McClenahan from Beluti, because that's my middle and last name. McClenahan and from Beluti.
Okay. I don't want to ask any more questions, but I do because I know you touched on the fact that you were adopted. So, did you know from the bat that you were adopted? Were they upfront and told you that you were adopted?
No, it was a process. So I grew up with my birth mom, but then when I was 9 years old, she got placed in jail, and then I got 6 siblings, so we all got separated at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in foster care from the age of 9 all the way to 21. So, and the adopted mom that I'm talking about now, who brought me to Hawaii, wasn't even my first adopted mother. I got adopted twice.
Really?
Yeah, because the first one didn't work out too well.
How old were you when you first got your first adoption?
My first adoption, I was 14.
You were 14. And then how long did you stay with that family?
So I was with her before she officially adopted me. So I was with her on and off between the ages of 11 and 18. It was just on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off.
Now, with the adopted mom that you went to Hawaii with, was that the second family that you?
That was this. Yeah, so that was the. So I met her in high school. She used to be my science teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she became my mentor. But she told me, she said, I knew you was my child before you even knew you was my child.
Really?
So it wasn't until after I graduated high school and she still stuck around. I was like, oh, you love me. Okay, you're actually there for me. And then I started to recognize her as my mom.
I love that. I love it. I have one of my students now. I just took him off for his 18th birthday. He was my 8th grade student, and he turned 18, and I've kept in the trenches with him. And just took him out 2 weeks ago. We went out for his 18th birthday.
That's such a blessing. I always try to tell. Well, whenever I can, I always try to tell people that like young adults, kids, whether middle school, high school, like we need consistency.
Come, let's play. Radio. Come, let's play. Fun is what we crave.
Let's go. You're listening to New York City's LDM Radio. Another long stretch of continuous music. Back into time. Flashback. New York City's LDM Radio.
The best radio station in the world is right here, right now.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the comment section. I am really excited. Not just with my two hosts, but also with my guests, who, if you look up rebranding and restarting, okay, in the dictionary, his face is there with him waving at you. He is the king of that. Hence the name Sire. So Sire, before we left off, you were talking about just some of the turmoil that you had to go through just to get to this point, family-wise. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that again? Because I don't think we heard all of it.
Yes. Jesus. It was a lot. All right. So I guess I could just let me start with, when I met Ms. Phillips, I was in foster care at the time, and I was there. I fully maxed out of the system, but it was a lot. I don't know. Can I get like a more of a direct question to kind of like, because I can go so many places with how I got from there to here. So can I get like a direct question on just like pinpoint it?
Well, we were talking about you being adopted. So talk about when you were adopted, and then when you were adopted, and then how your good relationship with your mom, your biological mom, you said, and then when you said your two adopted moms. Talk about those relationships and how the cohesiveness of the familyhood was dismantled with the siblings.
Okay. So I'm going to start off with the first adopted mom. She was amazing. She definitely did what she can, but I was a teenager and young, and it was also like 7 other kids in the house, so it was constant drama in the house. Lots of turmoil in the house, and eventually when I got into high school, I met my mom, who's my mom now. She was my science teacher, who later became my mentor, and now it's my mama. And I didn't really see her as a mama until after I graduated high school. She was still there, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like you must really love me to like kind of still be in contact with me." And that's when I realized, like, "Oh, this lady is really here for me." And then from then on, she was just like, "You want to come with me to Hawaii for a year?" Because she was studying for her doctorate in child psychology. And but around that time, when my birth mom just came back home from jail, so there was a lot of drama within that. Like my mom was just like, "Who's this lady? she just had all of these negative thoughts. But coming out of jail, you still getting adjusted to the world. So when she first came out, that was like the number one topic of who is this lady, um, what is her intentions with you, and etc. It was really bad. Like I've never got to stop my mom so much until she came out of jail. It was like she was a complete different person. But I guess it was coming from the fact like I just came home, you my youngest son, and you already leaving me.
Right.
But it was really bad because like I felt like nobody really appreciated my adopted mom because like nobody was taking care of me, nobody was checking in on me, nobody was doing anything but her. And it's like once my mom came out, everybody just turned on her. So when my mother was like, "You was like to Hawaii, like get me out. I need to get out of this place. Ain't nobody else helping me anyway. Like let's go."
Let's go.
I do have an amazing relationship with them. I do try to stay in contact with them, try to hit up because it's 6 of us. I'm the youngest out of 6.
Oh wow!
I do try to contact each and every one at least once or twice a month. So it's good.
Now, how about the relationship with your biological mom now? Since she's come back from Hawaii, has it been reestablished?
It has. It's gotten a lot better. I personally had to adjust to who she is as a person because when you're talking to somebody in jail, they're in confinement. They kind of like are like one sided. So when she came out, I wasn't used to who she was. Like I felt like the person I was seeing in jail wasn't the person I was seeing outside. And at first it was like there was this like back fear of like if she does any mistakes, I'm gonna lose my mom again. So, but however, during the time of her being home, a lot of boundaries had to be placed. I had a lot of stuff that I had to get off my chest that I never really got to say when she was in jail because at the time I was being a protective son. It was like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to put my trauma on you. You're a great mom. You're amazing. Like you did everything perfect. But when she came out, I was in college and it was just like, you missed this. You missed this. You can't talk to me like this. You can't just come home and expect me to be like super happy because you're home when you literally miss 10 plus years of my entire life. And now that you're home, you coming at the one person who's been taking care of me. Like, what's going on? So, yeah, so definitely.
But you know what? I respect the fact that you still call her mom, not that lady, or call her by her government name. I respect that you still call her mom and that you are so empathetic with what she had to go through. So whatever she did or however she got there, she came out of it. And whether you realize it or not, you're probably her greatest accomplishment. And so when she looks at you, she probably sees, she's proud of who you are, but she also probably feels a little envy that other people got to see you, in your journey to where you are. But I appreciate that, you are being easy on her because it's not. I'm not a mother, but I teach 8th grade, and when I tell you, I tip my hat to all y'all because I'm ready for them to go home at 2:20. Okay,
ready for them to go to you,
and they be ready to bring them to me at 8 at 2:20. I'm like, y'all ain't got to go home. But you got to get the hell
out of here.
I'm about to catch a case, and I don't want to do that. I don't think I would do well in jail. But anyway,
but I will say that we do have a great relationship now. We talk on a daily basis. She's gotten so much better. My mom used to be a hothead. She used to be a hothead, so she's calmed down a lot. Her relationship with God is absolutely amazing. That's how me and her connect now. Is through our relationship with God.
Perfect. That's perfect. And then you went to go see her too. You said you went to see her when she was incarcerated, correct?
Every month.
Look at that. She doesn't. You know what? People don't forget those things. They don't forget when they're in that place of solitude and she's in complete solitude like that. You don't forget about the people that come and see you, that take out time to see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did your other siblings go with you or no?
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a blue.
Ooh. You're trying to be nice. I got you.
I'm trying to be nice.
It's politically correct, but my question to you, how did you get, I knew about the dancing, I knew about the passion for performing, but how did you get into music? What was the catapult for that in Hawaii?
So I've always wanted to do music. Even before Hawaii, I always wanted to do music. I would say that I made my first song in like 9th grade. but I never did anything with it. And I would say my biggest inspiration is my older sister. Her name is Victoria. She was
Okay.
the singer. It's like she was the singer and I was the dancer. But when I heard her sing, I'm like, I can make music too. So it's just been dwelling in me for so long. I never had the confidence. I always thought that I couldn't sing, or I felt like I needed to be a part of a label, or I feel like I needed a team. So I'm one of those people. Like I feel like I need people to be backing me up. I need someone to hype me up. I'm the hype person, but behind closed doors, I need somebody to be like hyping me up. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I started making music in Hawaii, but I didn't have an outlet for it. You know, I didn't do the work behind it. I didn't reach out to people and be like, "Hey, let's go record a song. Let's do this," because I was so stoked on my dancing. However, through the past year and a half, I just had this huge spiritual awakening, which led me back to wanting to make music. You know, God was kind of just like, "Hey, you're an amazing dancer. Yes, you're a teacher, but don't forget about what I put in your heart when you were a kid." So
Right.
now I'm trying to get back into that. I'm trying to find my confidence within that.
I think your confidence has been found. Right now, we need what we need. We need a record deal.
It's the the maintenance of it. So again, I don't have a question, but I do have another option. Right. Something that's not talked about a lot, and you don't hear about it. We always hear about David. David slayed Goliath. David, you know, he was Solomon's father. David was a mighty man of valor. He was a man after God's own heart. We never hear who David's mother was, his biological mother. We never hear that mentioned. We know he was the youngest. We know he was the smallest, the least likely. They counted him out. And then he became the king, right?
David.
So the observation that I have is it seems like you've had many mothers, not just one mother. And again, David was multi-talented. Remember, he was a dancer. He could play the harp because he went to Saul to comfort him. So there could be a possibility that the reason why God shaped your early childhood the way he had to is because he was preparing you to heal others. And in healing others, I love what you said in the beginning when you talked about you're more mature, you're more patient, you listen more, you're confident in yourself. We see that David was confident. I think after one of the battles, he started dancing and everybody was humiliated. I think his wife was like, "What are you doing? You're making a spectacle of yourself." But when you have that love and joy of God within you, nobody can't take that confidence away because the world didn't give it to you.
Give it to you.
And they can't take it from you. I had to just observe that and say, I'm grateful for the role model that you've become because I have a son that's in 8th grade. And I felt like that age is very tender, middle school. There's many different things happening. And then on top of that, you had a tumultuous childhood. But look at what God did.
Look at God.
Hey, Goliath.
Look at God.
Look at God.
I'm minding my business again in the comment section.
And what attached me to Sire, well, of course, he was always sweet to me. And I always just thought he had this most beautiful chocolate skin. And all the little girls liked him, even though he wasn't thinking about them. I love that what's the word I'm looking for? You can be a role model, like she said, not only for troubled children, but just kids that are just lost. They're at that fork in the road.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're looking for somebody to tell them yes or no. And sometimes there is no yes or no. You just have to just jump off on faith, leap out on faith, and let God guide your steps. And I think that's what you're doing. And I can't wait to see what happens next. But tell us a little bit more, because the reason I brought you here was to tell us a little bit more about the single that you have, where the idea came from for this particular single.
Flow Like is my baby. Oh my God. I've been working on Flow Like. I've been working on Flow Like since like 11th grade. I'm lying. I've been working on Flow Like since college, since my freshman year of college.
Wow.
And how Flow Like came apart, it wasn't even a song about God back then. Believe it or not. It was about Henny and Ice. Come on, pour up the Henny and Ice, and like it was a feel good song, but it wasn't related to God at all. And when I first heard the beat for Flow Like, I was freestyling with some of my fraternity brothers, and I heard the beat, so I pulled up my phone and I just started like doing my little freestyle. And I feel like God told me, He was like, "This is the song." This is your song. This is gonna be your first song. And for years, I would go and record. Like I would book a studio session and I would go record it. Nothing. I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't like how it sound. I'll go to someone else and I'll record it and I didn't like how it sound. So I just kept it to myself for a really, really long time, waiting for the moment to actually release it. And then I want to say, we in 2024?
2024.
Right? I want to say at the ending of I want to say at the beginning of 2023, I found Jesus again because I always knew the Lord. I feel like when you go up in a black house, you ain't got no choice but to know God.
You got a personal relationship.
Yeah.
Right. So at the beginning of 2023, I actually started to build a relationship with him. And he was like, I want you to make this song about me.
All right.
And I said, how am I do that? And then randomly, I heard Kanye West. He had, I forget which song it was, but he had remade one of his songs and he made it about Jesus. And God was like, I want you to do that with Flow Like. So I was like, okay. And I started writing that. And it just became, little did I know, it became a healing song for me. So the original lyrics for Flow Like was, flow like Usher, I'm so caught up. With a Henny and ice, can you pour it up?
Wow.
So as 2023 went by, and I'm just like, I'm trying to be more like Jesus. How can I be more like Jesus? But how can I be more like Jesus without condemning myself? Because, what I say in my first verse is like, I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I've done a lot of things, which I'm sure we all have. But for me, it was like right in my face, in terms of sexuality, in terms of how I was operating with my life. I felt like, how I'm going to be like Jesus? Like, it wasn't like this. But the more I actually got into the Bible and started reading the Word, I realized that I do have a lot of the fruits of the Spirit that dwell in me. I just wasn't paying them any attention. So right up into the release of Flow Like, it was hard. Like I was still dealing with a lot of my what some may say my demons, and God was saying like, no, I need you to put that in the song. Like, don't lie, don't lie, be yourself, and use like the same thing you did with dance. I'm gonna need you to do with this because it's gonna heal people.
Absolutely.
And I was like, all right, cool. But even up literally to the week of me recording Flow Like for the final time in the studio, I was mad at God because like I felt like God told me, he was like, I'm gonna make you straight. Because like I love females. I think females are beautiful. I want to have a wife and I want to have a kids, but there is this other side of me that likes dudes. And I'm like, and like literally up until that week, I had this huge argument with God. Like, you said you were gonna change me. You said you're gonna do that, but I'm still doing this. I'm still doing this, and you want me to do this song? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the song, but I'm gonna do it for those Christians. I'm gonna do it for those Christians. And then like my first line of the song was treat myself like a king. Because my name is Sire. I thought it was cool. But I didn't feel like that. So I switched it to I'm not a saint, but my name is Sire. You know what I'm saying? Like my soul is on fire. I'm like dying inside. But he was just leading me to be very honest with my journey. And that's how I felt like it came to be.
But that's what people connect to, because a lot of people, you believe it or not, don't turn to Christianity because they feel like they have to be perfect. And that's exactly what we don't have to be, because nobody can do that. That's why you need a savior.
Right.
But with you, I think it's a little bit of imposter syndrome, I think that's what they call it. You can't believe how far you've come and how much of an impact you have over people. And I think that you're just not just the kids, but just people who are lost in general, especially in our LGBTQ, elemental community. I don't know all the letters yet. I can't keep up.
It's too much. It's too much.
They need to hear that it is okay. God loves everybody.
Right.
And if you need to seek deliverance, then seek it. But if you aren't there yet, I'd rather see somebody that's still living that life than somebody that's being fake and being miserable about it. I'd rather you be who you are and let God direct your steps. And you do that by staying in the Word. The closer you get to that Word, all those answers and all of those demons will be removed from you. Kudos.
Agree.
It's hard. It's been hard. It's been a journey. I'm still going through it.
But you know what? If you wouldn't be where you are, if the journey was not hard, you know what I mean. It has
It's
to
true.
be some difficult
Yeah.
steps. You're going to have some hurdles. You're going to have all of that. But at the end of at the end of the day, God is right there along the way, the whole journey with you, holding your hand. You know, my grandma just always sing that song, "Hold to God's unchanging hand." You know,
Mm.
no matter what, His hand doesn't change. You know. Now, what did you change those words to? I'm curious. When you said flow like Usher, what is it saying now? Flow like what?
Now it's saying flow like Jesus. You
You
so
better
yours
say it.
down.
There you
Flow
go.
like Jesus. You so yours down. And now instead of saying where the henny and ice is where the bread and the wine. So I like.
I
I had
love
some bread. I had some bread. Some wordplay with it.
it. Yeah.
The
So
Holy Spirit helped me with that one though. I wasn't able to come up with that.
that's what the Holy Spirit dwells within, right? He dwells within you, he gives you what you need when you need it. God is always on time, and I love your smile. I love your spirit. Even when commercial breaks and you and I are talking and things like, what's the difference of Sire, opposed to Sire on that dance floor? What's the difference?
Mm.
The twerk master.
I don't know how to work.
Where'd that one go? Because I forgot.
She said, I ain't forget. The difference between Saya here and Saya on the dance floor, I'm going to be honest, it's an unleashed Saya. I feel like the Saya here, like, just like talking,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm still being me, but it kind of feels like I'm polished versus when I'm dancing. I'm able to create this reality of being on stage, this reality of fully being myself while also expressing myself through the music. Because like when you're having a conversation, you have to find the words in order to convey what you're trying to explain.
Right.
Versus with the music does it for you. The words do it for you. So when I start dancing, it's like, oh, this is me, 100%. And I just feel like a 2-year-old who ain't got no parent watching them, you know?
Yeah. But that's how Beyonce is. That's Sasha Fierce. You know,
Yeah.
Beyonce, her words are limited. Beyonce is not the most articulate person in the world, so she just dances. And they keep the mic.
Yeah.
She said Sasha Fierce was her inner person where she could be free. She didn't have to worry about being judged, no constraints. And that's where I think we see the best version of her. So maybe you guys have that in common.
You know something? I do have one question for you, Saya.
Yes.
I'm think what you said, and I love your honesty about it. Is that you were mad at God,
Yeah.
and you were like, God, why didn't you do this? God, why didn't you do that? I think a lot of times people they don't want to admit that they're mad at God. How did you, number one, know that you were mad, and then have the audacity, right, to say, you know what, God, I'm challenging you. How did that come about? Could you share a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so I actually have a roommate. He's not here right now. We've been in this spiritual journey together for the past 2 years. And he told me, once I started getting into my word, I used to think that it wasn't okay to question God. But then he kind of explained it to me. He was just like, dude, like, that's like a father. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not questioning him, then you're not being honest. And I used to just, go by, all right, God's taking care of you, everything is going to be all right, which is true, but it doesn't negate the fact that I still have feelings and I have expectations of my heavenly Father. So so just like going through that process of like being comfortable, being like yes, he's in control, but I also have a voice. I also have feelings, and the audacity. I'm not going to go into the situation, but this was I had an experience where like I thought I would never do something. I thought that I would never reach a point where I would do a certain action that I did. And it's in the Bible it says that he knew us before we was in our mother's womb. And I was just like, you allowed this to happen. Because like God allows things to happen. So I'm just like, I was so mad. Like, how could you allow me to act in such a manner and then tell me that like to make music or to help people out. But I see this dark side of me, and I'm just like, you're allowing this to happen. Like, how dare you? Like, how, like, you knew that this would hurt me. So, like, why would you do that to me? Never.
I'm sorry, when I heard you say that, I thought about Paul. Remember, Paul talked about having a thorn in his flesh, and he wanted God to remove it, and he didn't. We don't know nothing about Paul's personal life. If he was, I don't think he was ever married or children or anything. But he actually wrote more scriptures than any of the disciples who were with Jesus.
Right.
And remember, in the beginning, he was like I believe he was a Christ killer. He used to kill.
He used to kill.
He used to kill Christians, child.
Right. So Paul, right.
To kill Christians,
So when you said that, that's what I thought about. Like, even in our imperfections, or we don't always have it together, God will still use us mightily.
Absolutely.
Even when we don't think we're worthy.
Even in those moments too, because even when that situation happened, the person was like, honestly, like, it was a bad situation, but it showed me something. Like, I actually healed from that situation. And not only that, me personally, I was able to release something that was so deep down inside me, that was just hidden, that it was finally released, and then even with the song within itself, like, the song wouldn't be what it was if I didn't even go through that experience. I would have been faking it, like, treat myself like a king because my name is Sire, when in all reality, I'm not treating myself right. I could be treating myself better. You know what I'm saying? So now I actually have people who listen to my song like, yo, I feel you. Like, I'm not perfect, but I'm trying, But the song would have never been like that if God didn't allow that experience to even happen in the first place.
And I don't think had you not went through all of those different traumas, you wouldn't be able to handle what God does have in store for you positive, because it's not easy. Once you get to the top, if you talk to anybody who has made it in whatever industry, whether it's music or film, they've gone through some stuff, living in their car, homeless, people been molested, all kind of craziness.
Even when you get up there, the things that God has shown me about the industry, because he stopped me. He stopped me. I was really close to what some people would say blowing up. And when I say he smacked me, when I say he literally just came and was just like, no, this is what you're about to get into. And I would have never known yet if he didn't come and was like, hold on, we're going to do this a different way. Like, you have the talent, you got the personality, but the road you're going on right now, it's crazier up in there more than you think it is. So I'm very grateful.
And they always say that, when you're about to get the biggest blessing that you've seen thus far, that's when those worst times come. God puts them on you because he has something so amazing for you in store, but you have to just weather that storm. And then you get to the other side and you're like, oh my God, I never thought that it could be. So
stay steady in the storm.
Absolutely. Which actually is a good segue into my next question, was with all the weather chaos that Hawaii had, did you get caught in any of that?
No, praise the Lord. I'm telling you, the Lord has had his hand on me since day one. I ain't experienced none of that craziness at all.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
It was in the secret.
She said you were in the secret place being.
Yeah, I was in a nice small island. Nobody touched me. Even during COVID, like, the island I was on, they didn't play that. They stopped all planes from coming to that island. I think it was like 20 people who had COVID.
Wow.
Oh, perfect.
It was like 20 people who had COVID and didn't even touch me. And then right after COVID, that's when my dance business blew up. Like, literally right now, because during that whole time, I was just making dances. And because people were so bored, by the time we got out, it was over.
Now, where can people find your songs? Like, what's on right now?
Y'all can find my song on all streaming platforms. It's named Flow Like, and then the artist name is Sire MF, like you see here. It's flow like water, and then like an ass, flow like. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. I put it on all of them.
Good. Now, what's the biggest hurdle that you face, going from dance to going into the music industry? Have you had any obstacles? I'm sure you have. And what advice can you give to someone that's looking to do the same thing that you're doing?
the obstacles that I have been going through transitioning from dance to music, which is why I really love this episode because it's about like restarting and rebranding,
Yes.
is bringing my authenticity that I had in music. I mean, in dance to my music, being as vulnerable in my writing, while also sending out a good message. All the music nowadays is pretty. I don't really like the programming of it. The the beat is nice, but the programming isn't exactly uplifting. So
Bell
the
Rich.
so the hurdle is like
Oh,
being
Bell.
positive and adding in that authenticity with
Mhm.
my music.
Okay.
I
And advice, before I let you continue, advice is to really, well, two things. First thing is seek for the kingdom and don't lose trust. Believe
Amen.
it or not, hearing that in my song over and over is what got me through what I've been going
Break that
through.
down. Can you repeat it? You said seek.
Seek for the kingdom and don't lose trust.
Yep.
Kingdom and don't lose trust.
Seek for the kingdom and don't lose
I'm gonna
trust.
add that to my wall.
And to be yourself no matter what. Just be yourself. And throughout the process of you being yourself, you will heal people and you will heal yourself in the process. Like, even if you have a certain goal or image of what you think you're supposed to be,
Mhm.
you'll get there, but you won't get there if you're not being yourself.
That's right.
So just keep being yourself.
You have to be true to yourself. And I'm this just as Katrina said, OCS, the only child syndrome in me. My advice to people is you really don't need anyone or anything but God. It sounds lonely and it sounds boring, but you really don't. And what you'll find is that a lot of the people that we categorize as our friends, our acquaintances, oh, that's my sis, half these people don't even want to see you win. A lot of them are plotting for your downfall, believe it or not. So my advice to you, elder, don't tell everybody your next move. Don't
Nope.
tell everybody what you're working on because everybody's not you and everybody's not happy for you.
It's true. No,
48
it's very
years
much
to learn
true.
that.
And some people are just energy drainers, They just like your energy, so they just trying to be around you to feed off of you. And then when it's time to go back on the other side, ain't nobody trying to help you fill your cup. Only God can do that.
You know something that you said too? You said randomly you heard a Kanye song. I said, when you said that, I wrote down divinely. And I'm grateful that God has used Kanye in a way where if you look back, he was kind of like, they didn't want him to be an artist. They just wanted him to make beats.
They did.
And he pushed his way through, going back to you saying, be yourself. And not only did he make music that we could dance to and, get a vibe right, but he did start making Christian music.
There's a whole church.
Praising God. And I think once he did that, Sire, you just said it, a perfect example. That's when you said, oh, I can do this. And then I feel like that's what you're going to do for many people. When people see that you have rebranded yourself, dancer, now you're doing music, who knows what's to come. It's like, oh, if Sire could do that, then I can do that. So I just applaud you. I was thinking as you were talking, I had so many thoughts going through my mind. Last two. When R. Kelly talks about, and I believe I could fly, I'm leaning on. And then when Whitney Houston says, in the greatest love of all, what is it? Because she gets to the end of the song and she said, and if you find that special place, and I think you found that special place that you've been dreaming of, but if it doesn't feel like you think it should, lean on love. And you're talking about that. You're talking about seeking God. So I just want to encourage you to keep being and keep growing your relationship with God, because obviously it's not just healing you, but it's healing others, and it's a blessing to the world.
Yeah. And it's giving people permission to be their authentic self.
There you go.
Their true self. You can show them, like, just because this happened here does not mean it dictate who I am today. You show that in so many facets of your life. Being adopted, people stay and die on the hill and think that's where they're supposed to stay. No, I moved on from that, and you are encouragement for the youth because you're still young, so you're still impressionable, and you can still pour into other, even students, even other people, even your siblings that are not doing maybe not as well as you. I don't know what they're doing. They may be doing great things, and that's a great thing that they are doing those things because you look at people's circumstances and people already put you into a category. Oh, he's adopted. He this, he that. Had you not even said that, you not even known. Because you were so articulate and you were smiling, you were happy. I wouldn't have known that. But that's what people put on you. They put on that negative connotation just from you being adopted. That don't mean that you had a miserable life because you're adopted. You had good people.
I did. God put some good people in my life. Oh my gosh, and like as the years go on, I start to understand why things happen the way they did.
Yeah.
Because with my situation, I could have gotten lost. I could have died in the hill. Child, like this is a little personal. I used to be a prostitute, so I could have been gone a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? But God really has had me covered from
God,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Because that's your next name here, but God. But God. If it had not been for him. But God. Look at me about to preach.
And you know what, Trina, when the youth like him are delivering these messages, they listen to them quicker than they'll listen to one of us because they feel like we're old news. We don't know. He knows. He's been there for that, and he's still, young enough to connect to them in a way that maybe we can't, or it might take us longer to connect to them. And I don't know. I'm speechless. I just want to like bring all your teachers and have them all come and see what an amazing young man he turned out to be.
I'm telling you. And just think about this, Shirley, like when it's teachers, you know how you do like coaching, they always learn from their peers.
Yeah.
That's what they learn from their teacher. So as you being a young man out here teaching through music, through dance, I mean, you opening up so many doors for students who think, or for your youth who feel like they couldn't. And
That's the goal.
They can.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Like my ultimate goal, like outside of supporting my family on the issue level, the goal is for all those little kids who have gone through their parents being incarcerated, who has been in foster care, who used to be a prostitute, who didn't get accepted for being himself, or who was on drugs. It's like my goal is to show that you can go through all that, but you can come out of it.
Absolutely. So we gotta get you your vendor ID number so you can get some programs going in these New York City public schools because they have the money. Trust me, they have the money. People. And I get young men all the time that come to me because I do girls. They're like, Miss Phillips, when are you going to do something for the boys? What do we do when we're depressed? And I'm like, I'm not a man. I can't tell you how to be a man. You need somebody, that you can relate to a little bit better than me. So I definitely have. Katrina knows a plethora of people. Elise knows, and she's here. She's in Jersey, but she is very well connected here to get you started if that's what you're looking to get into.
That's always the goal. Like I think I've said it before. Like if I got to take a flight to go speak to some kids just to uplift them, that believe it or not, I'll be helping them, but that would be my soul.
Yeah. Well, they need it because they're getting on my nerves. So you can come and talk. I'm tired. This is my last day in New York City, so turning them over to y'all.
But you know what? I want to say something. Look at what you're producing. So let's talk about you, sis.
You know what? Somebody else told me that, and I don't see it that way. But
So tell me how you see it, because Trina and I are seeing it right now through your lens by looking at him. So tell me how you tell us. Excuse me. How you?
I see it as just like me just being a stepping stone for them to get to where God has purposed them to be. I don't give any credit to myself at all, but I do feel like a proud mother when I see all these babies that have grown up to be amazing people. Like even I just have one student, I can't say his name, but he before went college and he said, I want to be an EMT. I want to save lives. I want to be a bus driver. And that's what and he says I feel like somebody was actually having a seizure. Wow. He fell out in the bathroom and it was an older woman. And he said I used everything that I learned, and I helped her. And he said I don't think there's any other job that I would rather do than what I do, because I save lives every single day. And to know that that was going to my 8th grade student, and that makes me feel proud, even though I didn't have anything to do with it.
So thank God for that. You are being used as a vessel. You're allowing yourself to be a vessel for the EMT and SIAs of the world.
It's true. It's really true. Like Miss Phillips, when you hit me up with this, you have no idea. I don't even remember where I was at, but when you hit me up, I was just like, oh, thank you, God. Like every time you hit me up, I praise God for you. Like I know you don't think it's a lot, we don't talk a lot, but whenever you do hit me up, I feel like God sent you right over to me.
I love it. Shirley, even in our commercial break, Sire said, I wish I could see Miss Phillips, because we're, via internet. But he was like, that was the first thing he said, I wish I could have seen her face.
Well, we're gonna come harass you, so be careful what you wish for. We coming to start get like I'll be in Hawaii. July we'll be there, but we will come visit you.
I'm in Texas now.
I can come there too. I have people there.
This ain't Texas.
This ain't Texas. We can be there too.
Which part of Texas are you in? Not being all in business.
I'm in Austin.
Austin?
In Austin, Texas.
How many more minutes?
Like Austin.
So we have roughly about, how many minutes, y'all? About 5? Oh, look at me right on the dot. 5 minutes left to begin the show. So, Sire, what would you say before you leave this earth? I want you to narrow down 3 things that you would like to accomplish, or 3 places you'd like to go before God sees fit to take you home. Because I know I got a list, and I would like to hear your top 3.
My top 3. So it says places I would like to go, things I would like to do.
Yeah, either or. Just 3 things that you'd like to accomplish before you leave.
I want to break the generational curse of being financially bound in my family. I want that by the time I leave this place, that generations that come after me will never have to worry about financial problems and being loved by their family. So I want to strengthen my family in that. 2, I want to go to Africa. I got to go to Africa. I got to go to the motherland, And 3, I want to make sure that I use all my gifts the way that God put it in my head. I want to make sure that I actually do it.
That's right.
That's right. You magnify those gifts and give you all the glory to God. Amen. Yeah.
Well, I think that that's a reasonable list. Katrina and we got you on Africa. We went to Ghana. When did we go,
Last October.
What's it?
And we actually have an artist there that is looking to partner with as many artists as he can in the United States. He's like the little Bow Wow of Africa. They actually call him the Prince, and it's funny that your Sire, they call him the Prince, Star Boy, but very much right-centered, and he would love to work with you, I'm sure. So I would definitely. His name is Photocopy. He just turned
With an F. F-O-T-O.
What you said?
No, he was looking it up. I was just making sure he knew it was F-O-T-O.
Oh yes, FOTO. He actually just came out with a video, actually. So he's always looking for dancers, dance instructors, or people to collab with in the United States. So
Maybe it's a collaboration, Shirley, what we talked about when we were in Ghana. So that would be a good one, a good collab.
excellent one, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I would definitely make that happen for you. Anything else? What else? What are we missing?